This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
You're listening to INCRadio.
Broadcasting live from Chicago, Illinois. DZEM 954 AM station. Here to bring you great conversations about faith, people, places, culture, and recent events all around the district. Join us on YouTube at INCRadio.org. Hello, Northern Midwest and the rest of the world. It's time to get this show started.
And it is time to get this show started. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who's tuned in to INCRadio Northern Midwest Satellite Studio, wherein we are going to talk about the activities, brethren, from the districts of Great Lakes and Northern Plains. I'm Abriel Romero, one of your hosts for today's broadcast, and it is not just me today, and it's not just Elsam, who you'll see later on in our show, but for today, I don't know if anyone has seen our thumbnail for the broadcast, but we do have some special guests today. So it's not just going to be the usual three who you see every week. So in commemoration of the 62nd anniversary of the establishment of the Buklud organization inside the Church of Christ, or for those who are married, we're going to talk to some brethren who are married and learn more about their experiences during the early years of marriage. And so without further ado, let's stay close to home first for our first set of guests. Maybe familiar, and maybe you might say might look like me. We'll see. So let's say hi to our first pair. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello.
You can introduce yourselves.
I'm Yeli, and then of course
I
this
am
is my
Ramal
husband.
Cabardo.
Hi, thank you for joining this afternoon from Bloomingdale, right where I am. So let's go next further north. I think my directions, right? Are there also like the three of us, like you, me, and Tony, we get our directions confused sometimes. So
Yes.
I think it's I'm pretty sure it's north of where we both are, actually. In Milwaukee. Let's say hi to our next pair. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Katrina.
And I'm EJ from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Glad to be on the show today. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, both of you, EJ, Katrina, Rowell, Justin, and Yeli.
I'm only curious.
yeah.
How long have they each of them been married?
I would answer, but I don't want to get it wrong. So let's ask them. Let's ask each of them. Yeli and Justin, if you guys want to go first.
We got married September 2020, and actually it's funny. Katrina and EJ, we have a group chat that's called "Married in 2020."
We got married.
So we both were married in 2020.
Yep. We both got married in 2020, and we got married 3 months after in November of 2020.
Oh, that's lots. So 4 years for the both.
Yes. Yep.
Nice. So it's been, we will call it the early years of marriage, right? Still fairly new, like 4 years, right? Give or take 4 years. So I know it was maybe a little different back then because, right, 2020 was the year of the pandemic, and maybe things were, not up to what you originally planned. So at first, or at the beginning, or when you were married, what were among the first decisions you guys had to make as a couple? Whoever wants to go first, unless I'm maybe giving you both time to think about it, but whoever wants to chime in with that, because I know there's a lot of things you'd have to think about, planned or even unplanned, right? So.
Well, I know for us, it was we were in a long distance relationship, So I'm originally from Kansas, and of course, Katrina here is from Wisconsin. So I think one of the things that we had to decide was who's moving where. Who's going to who, you know? And I think along the lines, I think it was more reasonable for me to move over to Wisconsin because Katrina was more established in her job versus I was just working at Starbucks at the time. And that's something I could just easily transfer over to here in Wisconsin. So that was the decision, and of course to also help out the locale here in Milwaukee. So
Very sweet. I do love that. How about Yelly and Justin?
So for us, I was already living here, 2019. So one of our biggest decision was living in finding a bigger place to live in, because I did have an apartment here in 2019. So when we got married, we decided we needed a bigger place for both of us.
Yeah, I think we called his apartment the bachelor pad. So it was very small, just, single bedroom. And because of 2020, we were working from home. And so we knew we both needed office space, when we were to get married. So I know we were thinking of getting a bigger place, but because everything was shut down, it was a little bit harder to try and find a new place. So plus we were actually supposed to get married in May of 2020, and that's actually when his lease would have ended. So it would have been perfect to be able to find a new place. But because, we pushed the wedding, we renewed his lease. So basically when we got married, we had to stay there, a little bit longer, or stay there at all when we didn't think we were going to. So that was kind of a shift in our plans.
So was that like the priority you two like made together, or was there something else that you wanted to establish first before like finding that place to settle together, or were there other like priorities, like because of the pandemic too, right? Because it was harder. Well, for both of you, you were working from home, so maybe it wasn't as difficult. But for those who were like on site, who were kind of furloughed and weren't sure if their job was stable, that could have been the priority first. So did that change, especially during the pandemic? Your priorities once you were married?
I mean, we were fortunate and blessed to still have our jobs during COVID. So Yelly and I we would work from home. And just
I think we kind of just went with the flow. We didn't really feel like it was a stress or a burden on us to like shift our priorities. It just kind of felt like, okay, this is the reality and this is how we're going to adjust. And then honestly, I feel like once we were married, it was just like we just had fun and weren't stressing out as much, and just kind of, again, like I said, just adjusted to what was going on at the time.
Yeah, and I'm sure like for EJ, Katrina, right, it was the same. Well, maybe a more difficult thing to adjust to, because not only were you moving, right, EJ, to a new state, right, you had to kind of reestablish, your setting there. So how did that, if any priorities changed, how did they?
Did your priorities change?
No priorities changed. No, no, I don't think no.
I don't think so. I think just to compare to Yelly and Chen, EJ had to go into work every day because he was working in the restaurant industry. Mm-hmm. So that was different. I was a teacher, or I am a teacher, so I was able to work from home until a certain point. I know for me, like whenever he went to work, it was worrisome just because we didn't know what was going on in the world. And then when he would come home late, that was also worrisome because like, I'm home by myself. It's 11. Where's my husband? I'm supposed to be with someone. So that was a little difficult. So just like at that time, really prioritizing our health and our well-being. And then same as them, like we were just, going along with the flow because we knew that this is very much uncharted territory for everybody. So we went with it.
Good to hear that you guys were able to adjust pretty well, especially with like what you were mentioning, Katrina, that time of uncertainty what was going to happen, but with that time spent together, even more so now, right, during the pandemic. I'm sure that all of those in the live chat may agree with me or not, but there may have been some interesting things you learned about each other during a pandemic, like maybe how you are like at home, in terms of like I see you both laughing right now.
We are.
You're
something-
smirking there.
is there something like funny or like a funny story you're able to tell about maybe like a habit that you didn't learn about someone else, possible, or
Um, so I had the opportunity to kind of like try living on my own. Um, and so living with another person is just very different, especially, someone that you love, and I had to remind myself like you love him. Here. He's not going
All the
anywhere.
time.
All the time. So it's just like the little things, like leaving things where they weren't supposed to be. Not to put you on blast, but supposed to. I'm like, it's okay. Be patient. Patience is good. So just like little things. But I mean, we made it for 4 years so far. So I don't know if Yali and Jen went through something similar.
Oh yeah. I mean, I lived on my own, and so living on your own, you have your own system. You have certain habits. Like before COVID, I used to work in Chicago. When I'd come home, it's more like take off my coat, take off my backpack, just place it anywhere I want, sit down and in front of the TV, take off my socks, my shoes, just leave it on the floor. But when we got married, I just remembered Yelly's face when she saw me do that. She was just like why? Like, just put it in the hamper. Put your shoes away.
Literally, like I
Right.
would come home and there's a sock right here,
Him too.
and the hamper right here.
Uh-huh. Mhm, mhm.
Maybe,
I'm glad that
maybe
you-
this is like a joint booklet
Yeah.
thing. Maybe
It's-
everyone can agree, but it's always the sock, and it's always one sock by itself.
I just took it off and just threw it on the floor.
Or you find it in the living room one day and you're like, oh, that's where that went.
Yeah, right.
I still have missing socks these days.
Yeah, we
So
can't
does
blame
EJ.
it on Kirby either because it's his fault that he leaves.
We
leaves
can't
the
blame
hamper.
ours on Erwin either. So we totally feel you.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
and I think we need to take maybe a short break from all the laughs today. But were there any awesome? Did you see anything in our from our YouTube live chatters? Uh,
This is from like the previous question, but
Okay.
at the let's say actually, but she put that for them the first priority was to understand what their goals as a family were going to be. And I saw someone mentioning something about socks as well. Like before when you guys mentioned it, I saw someone in live chat put socks, and it was scrolling too fast. I couldn't find their comments anymore, but they did say something about socks as well.
I guess that's a shared feeling about.
I think it's a universal
Yeah.
language of the socks.
It is. Truly is. Why we have to keep buying them every so often.
We just bought some over the weekend.
I'm pretty
man.
sure we did.
I mean, like I know we have like all of these like funny moments with like the socks disappearing or just not even falling into the hamper at some point, right? But I mean, that's among maybe one of many minor disagreements that you possibly have, like who's gonna do the laundry this week, or who's gonna wash the dishes, or who's gonna pick up that sock that was on the floor and put it in the hamper. So how have you been able to like settle those like minor disagreements? I mean, it could be like really simple and just like rotate. I don't know if that's how that works, but
Rock, paper, scissors.
rock paper scissors.
Kidding. I'm just
When
kidding.
it comes to washing dishes, it's more who cooks, and whoever's the one cooking, the other person has to clean.
Okay.
So I always want to try to cook because I don't like cooking dishes.
The truth comes out, Ted. Come out.
So I can use as many dishes as I want, and then I just know.
That she'll be the one.
Yeah, she has to be the one to wash them later.
Mhm. No, I think over the years we kind of learned like we do have different systems of doing things. Like I'm very much the person that can't really relax on the couch, watch movies until I know the kitchen is clean or until I know like we've cleaned up everything that we used when we ate dinner or whatever. But he's very much like, no, we have to relax. Like this is our time to relax. We could do that stuff later. And so we kind of, I think in that first year of marriage, we kind of understood like, okay, wait, we do have different systems of doing things. What's going to be like the system we do going forward, or like what's actually going to help us? And I think we have realized like, okay, yeah, we should probably just get rid of all the busy stuff, busy work now, and then we can fully relax, at night, and then the next day, the next morning, everything is already clean for us to start breakfast, things like that. So it definitely wasn't just like a flip of a switch. It was like a learning curve.
It was definitely a process.
Yeah, yeah.
Like every day, I can see the hamper getting closer and closer to me. So that's when I learned. Once those socks go off, I know where to put the hamper.
There you go.
But it's progression. Getting to learn about each other. So now it's cook, eat, clean, relax, instead of cook, relax, or cook, eat, and then so like Yelly said, busy work, finish the busy work, and then you can watch a movie.
Okay. Similar routine, EJ, Katrina, or?
I think so. If one doesn't get to do the laundry, then the other one kind of picks up the slack. I know for us it's just a little different because we have a 2-year-old toddler running around the house. And so no matter if we're cleaning or if like EJ's grandma is cleaning or my mom or whoever, in like 2 seconds it's all gone anyway. So the cleaning kind of just happens on its own. But yeah, it's really just like talking it out and be like, hey, like I don't have the strength to do this because I had a really hard day. Do you mind doing this for me today?
Communication.
Yeah, we have learned that, like for me, I used to be that person where I'm like, well, I'm just gonna be quiet and like he'll figure it out when he figures it out. Here's the advice: they never figure it out.
Yeah.
So
No.
so
You
you
have to
learn to just be healthy and communicate it, say it, and you're in a much better place.
Yeah,
I know
I like what Katrina said, like, especially when it's like, if you've definitely had that kind of day, like, I'm really only at 20% right now. Justin will understand that, and he knows he has to be the other 80%. Like, that's just kind of how we function, and we both can't be at 20%. So sometimes he'll even be at 10%, and then I'll know that day, like, okay, I got to be that 90%. And then we kind of like pick each other up or kind of help fill in where the energy might be a little lacking. And so that I feel like helps us get through, every day.
I love all of this comments that you guys are giving, and everyone in our YouTube live chat is appreciating that advice as well. So if you did have any additional supplemental advice to give, or in relation to your communication with each other, that's what both of you actually have stressed a lot, was communication and like teamwork, picking up each other's slack when one doesn't feel at 100%. So what else are among the things that keep that teamwork so strong?
For us, definitely number one, not just communicating with each other, but communicating with God. Having our evening panatas. That's like our set time to be together. We might even be away from each other the whole day. Like I'll be in the office. He might have other things when I'm coming home from work. He might already be gone. And so when we come together at night, right before bed, to have our panata, that's our time to communicate to God for what we need to. And I feel like that has always strengthened us, even when we were dating, because we were actually also long distance as well. So, I guess having that communication with each other, with our Almighty God, that has definitely strengthened our marriage and continues to strengthen our marriage.
For us, it's very, very, very similar. We try to always, we always do our best to pray together every night. And one of the main things that we like to do also is to perform our duties together. So if one of us has to travel to Chicago, then we're all going to Chicago. If one of us has to go to Park Ridge, we're both going to Park Ridge with our uniforms in hand. So that's something that I think that's probably one of our favorite things to do together is just to perform our duties. It's just a really nice and rewarding feeling. And then I know Abe mentioned communication. One thing that what we also keep in mind is we want to show Erwin like what true love looks like and what love from God looks like too, because that's really important for us, so that he grows up to have that strong faith like that, like what we have. I want him to one not settle, right? He should, and then to put his full trust in God. Anything to add?
No, very well said.
Thank
Very
you.
Yes, I love that. That complement each other. Listen to each other. You have each other's backs, and I'm sure everyone in our YouTube live chat really does appreciate both what both of you have said, and there are a lot of good takeaways, as what I'm seeing in the comments. Right, Elsam, I don't know if there's any more that I may have missed aside from just general support for our two
Yes.
pairs.
From Leslie, you mentioned earlier that no one is a mind reader. So the sooner you figure that out, the happier you will be. So this was earlier when we were talking about like communication, right? And she also mentioned that love takes on different forms. It's not just what is romanticized. Being there for each other and listening and understanding is continuous love. And I saw another one from her here. She said that also having the same goals in mind, physically, mentally, and spiritually, keeps the love strong.
Really love that, all of that. That's very nice. So thank you for both Yelly, Justin, Katrina, and EJ for sharing your thoughts and your experiences on the early years. As you know, me and Elsam are not married. We're both single. So it was really appreciated that both of you were able to join us today for your expertise. I'm going to call it expertise on the topic for today. So, but we do have another expert to join us next for our next segment, which I'm sure everyone in our YouTube live chat is familiar with. Our sign language segment coming from the CSD, Christian Society for the Deaf. Very special phrases that we will learn today. So let's find out what they are.
This is your song.
Hi everyone, I'm Brother Cameron, the CSD advisor, and today our word for the week is I love my wife or I love my husband. So we'll do I love my wife or I love my husband. So once again, I love my wife.
This is your song.
And thank you to RCS department, especially to Brother Cameron for teaching us how to sign. That I'm sure that that applies, of course, to our book club, our married members. Because you don't need to learn that for now. But as for our recent activities that we've had, actually one of the activities is for the book club. But recently, Lake County in Columbus had their nature walk. That was last Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, and Cincinnati had their cycling and walking activity as well. And as for our upcoming activity, the local congregation of Park Ridge will have their Unity Games bowling activity. And as for this is for all of the book club here in our district, they will have their book club night. Sorry, it took me time to find the poster for that. So that'll be in the Chicago Chapel's Function Hall at 5 p.m. Central Time, and in Louisville at 4 p.m. Eastern as well, in Detroit 4 p.m. Eastern as well. So their book club night, that is December 29th. So kind of near the end of this year. And as for, and I know one more segment that you're all looking forward to as part of our show is our hashtag challenge. So let's see which locales won last week's hashtag challenge.
I'm excited for this, EJ. I don't know about. Let's see who they are.
Well, first off, honorable mention. Thank you for tuning in last.
Woohoo! Okay.
Fourth place is Chicago, Illinois, and we also have some from Sterling Heights winning individual fourth place.
Congratulations!
Oh, it's a tie between Chester and Louisville.
Nice.
From Bloomingdale, that's the third place, and it's second place, Sterling Heights, Michigan. And Sir Rachel Lynn was
Who's first? Who's first?
Place. First place, of course, with Brother Abel Romero winning the individual first place. Congratulations to Bloomingdale, and of course to everyone for always sharing all of your hashtags. I see a lot of creative ones in our live chat. I saw a lot of creative ones today too, so I'm excited to see them next week as well. But that comes to, our show has come to a close. So before we close up, just want to say a couple greetings, or a couple birthday greetings actually. First off, to our host for today, our Kuya Abram Mero here celebrating his birthday. Was it yesterday? Was it yesterday?
Yes, it was yesterday.
I think it was yesterday. So happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
Yes, and we also want to say a happy birthday as well to our district minister brother Elmer A. Sarmiento, and of course we want to say our thank you to them as well for making our show possible, and as well to our assistant district minister as well, brother Arthur P. Agag, and there in Northern Plains we have brother Elmer Parangao, their district minister, and as well as we want to say thank you as well to the rest of the district staff, and as well as a very special thank you to brother Wally Taray, our INC radio station manager, to brother Angelo Eranio V. Manalo, our SEPSI president and CFO coordinator, and most especially to brother Eduardo V. Manalo, our executive minister. We do hope to see you all again next week. Stay phenomenal, be phenomenal. We'll see you again. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
This is INC Radio, DCEM 954, the voice of